Okay, good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to review the concepts of macroeconomics, one of the important concepts, and that is the classical model. There are mainly two schools of thoughts in macroeconomics. One is classical, one is Keynesian. So today we're going to go over classical as well as Keynesian, but first, classical. So these models are used to explain the business cycles, what's really happening in the economy. So any business cycle has two components. First, what shock is the most influential and how key macro variables respond to the economic shocks. So there are many schools of thoughts, but according to the classical model, the primary cause of business cycle is the real shocks. What is the real shocks? Well, the real shocks is not the real shocks. The real is not the contrast. It's not to be contrast with phony. It's not mean with the fake what is real, but the real shock is the shock to the real variable of the economy. For example, your real output, your real your desired savings, which is real, your consumption, which is also real, and there are many more. Let me find this. So the real shocks are disturbances to the real side of the economy. Like I said before, it includes the shocks that affect the production function, the shocks to the size of the labor force, the shocks to the real quantity of government purchases, the shocks that affect spending decisions and saving decisions of consumers. So these are the real side of the economy. So what is a not real side? It would be the nominal side. It could be the nominal output, but that is determined by the price, right? So the price is not the real side of the economy. And as we know this, let's give some examples. For example, an increase in the quantity of labor will shift the FE line from left to the right. This is right. Okay. An increase in raw materials, increase in the price of the raw materials will likely to change the FE line to the right as well. So the beneficial supply shocks, which is also called beneficial productivity shocks, is one of the most important real shocks. And the RBC economist, the real business cycle economist, believes that this productivity shocks is the most important real shocks that affect the economy. So the beneficial supply shocks, they say any economic boom is due to a beneficial supply shock. Any recession is due to adverse supply shocks. So we use beneficial to contrast with adverse. So once a theory is proposed, we need to see, does it fit? It does fit a lot of the business effect. First of all, the pro-cyclical employment and real wages. The pro-cyclical means the direction. When output increases, employment also increases, so real wages also increases. That's right. And also it predicts the pro-cyclical average labor productivity. When output increases, and it's likely that we are going to work harder to meet the demand of the output to get more wage. Yes. Then sometimes it does not fit. It's like a slap in the face. Why? So first of all, only a few productivity shocks cause recession, according to the Americans' chronological research. So they only see that the oil price went up a lot. The OECD, the organization, is the cartel that controls the oil price. They raise the price to American buyers. Then there's a rise in the oil price in America, and that is the adverse supply shock in 1973, 1979, and 1990. And only these supply shocks cause recession, actually. But the economists have never seen any other time that it caused that adverse productivity shocks cause so severe recession. There are just small things. So lack of evidence. Then the RBC economists made a reply. They say, even though there are small shocks, they accumulate to very big shocks. For example, the oil price shock. They can accumulate. So another slap in the face is the inflation. So the inflation should be slow during recession. This is a business, this is the RBC's theory. Inflation will grow, the price will be higher, but it should be growing slowly. However, the real world situation is, we all know that the inflation will fall. Deflation. So these are two evidences that we see that the real business cycle theory does not perfectly fit with the business world facts. Then let's examine the fiscal policy. So in the fiscal policy means the government will do something. Usually the government, let's imagine the government now increase their spending. Government purchases increases. What does it do? So first of all, we assume the consumers are rational consumers. An increase in government spending is to be matched by an increase in tax, either current tax or future taxes. That is by the Ricardian equivalence. We studied this in the earlier chapters. If the tax increase, that gives a consumer incentive to work harder because they want to maintain their original lifestyle. Because if their tax increases, that means their disposable income will decrease. So they have to consume less, but they actually don't want to consume less. They need to work harder. Okay, so they need to work harder. So the labor supply will increases, right? From NS to NS2, while maintaining the labor demand unchanged, because demand is on the business side. Business, currently we do not assume it changes. So after labor supply increases, it's going to lower the wage, okay, from W1 to W2 here, and it's going to lower the wages but increase the labor supply. So the FE line, since we have more labor supply, we have more output. Remember, more labor supply, more output. But MPN is going to decrease. So the FE line will shift to the right. And IIS IS curve will shift to the right as well. Why? Let's look at the desired savings. So the desired savings is the sum of the private saving plus the national saving. And currently the government spend more, so the national saving is going to reduce. So the desired saving is also going to reduce. And the desired saving reduces, we don't have enough money to lend to the businesses, so the interest rate that clears the goods market will rises. That's why the IS curve will shift up. I like to call it shift up, but shift up in this curve also means shifting to the right. So IS curve will shift to the right. And if we assume that IS curve, the shift of IS curve is going to be bigger than the shift of FE line, then what will happen is that the IS2 intersecting the LM1 at point H, which is above the equilibrium output Y2. It should be at Y2, but now the producing at H is higher. It's higher. So what does this mean is that the price will increase. Why? Because we are demanding more than we actually can supply. Okay, so we must give workers more wages to induce them to work more to meet the demand temporarily. So as the price increase, the real money supply here will fall. And the real money supply will fall. What happens in the asset market? Well, the equilibrium interest rate will rise because less supply, more compared to demand, means the interest rate is going to rise. So our curve will shift up to the left, and will continue shifting until the LM2 will intersect at the point where IS2 intersect at FE2, which means ultimately we will have IS2, LM2, FE2 all intersecting at one point F, and that F corresponds to equilibrium level up Y2. So the economy is back to the general equilibrium again. Let me take a rest. Next, we're going to look at, do we use the fiscal policy under the consumption assumptions by the classical economists? The answer is no. Because the fiscal policy will increase the output, but workers are worse off. Because here we have more taxes. And we're going to see that the wages are going to be lower. So it's not recommended. Plus, there are lags in enacting the policy. So after the government, if someone suggests it, it will take a longer time to be approved by parliament in some countries. It takes a long time. And also the third problem is usually the forecast may not be accurate. So this kind of inaccurate forecast may overshoot or undershoot the economy. So imagine that the government purchases increase. What if the government purchase increase less than expected, more than expected, to bring the economy back to equilibrium? It may cause troubles. And then we look at the question of unemployment. So in the classical theory, the cyclical unemployment is always zero. We only have frictional unemployment. It's the time for matching skills and jobs. And we have structural unemployment. due to the productivity shocks, we have laborers that do not have the skill sets needed for the job permanently. So there's a rather long change, so it's structural unemployment. And someone asking, why cyclical unemployment is zero? That's because we really do not have unemployment. Here, as you see, the whatever changes will always be equilibrium. There is no excess supply, excess demand. The problem, it may occur to you that if you draw W1 here, if you maintain that W1 as wage, if the labor supply now is at NS2, then there will definitely be a surplus of labor. So it creates unemployment. But here, classical economists do not assume that. They will assume that wages will fall or rise accordingly. There will be no cyclical unemployment. And also, do we use fiscal policy to reduce unemployment? Of course not. We have discussed there is no cyclical unemployment first. But in general, do we use that to reduce unemployment? No. A better way would be we can use it to reduce regulations or to remove the minimum wage requirement. So now let's go on and talk about monetary policy. Monetary policy is the action by the central bank to change the nominal money supply in order to achieve something. So here, in the classical model, we already see that the money is neutral in the short run because price is really flexible. Any movement in the ISLM model, any movement in ADAS model will quickly be matched by a change in the price, and the economy is back to equilibrium again. So the money is neutral. It's neutral to the real variables. For example, output does not change. Price will definitely may change, but that's not real variable. But what the fact is really is that money is a leading and pro-cyclical variable. Leading means timing. So when output decreases, money supply will first decrease, then comes the decrease in output. So it's called leading. It precedes the output changes. Then it's pro-cyclical. When output decreases, money also decreases. So that's called leading and pro-cyclical. So there are some, so this means that classical model does not explain this, right? But someone replied, someone gave a rather weak response. Reverse causation means 因果导致. So imagine that you heard a storm is going to come. So you put your window, you close your window, and you strengthen your window. For example, putting some paper on the window so that it may not break down during the storm. So will strengthening the window cause the storm? No, the storm, which occurs later, it causes the strengthening the window this action. So the same it is for the money. Money, although it occurs earlier, does not cause the output changes. Rather, is because the output is going to change, the money will go first. So this is rather weak, and you find me explaining it very hard. So it's a weak response. So the classical model, the classical economists will finally capitulate. They come up with a misperceptions theory. In the misperceptions theory, they explain the money non-neutrality in the short run. So the way they explain is this: so if the price is higher than expected, the worker is going to work more, so the output will increase. If the increase in the price is lower than expected, they will work less, so they lowers the output. We do not have all the price observed. We only have the expected price level. So right now, let's look at here. So the SRAS equation is just that. Y is equal to Y bar plus B times P minus PE. So imagine the expected price. It will be here. And actual price, P, might be P1, might be here. It's really the equation, it means this level, and it changes, moves a little bit to the right, moves a little bit to the left, and that is SRAS curve. So every SRAS will intersect an LRAS curve when P0 is equal to P. Right? Because if all things are expected, the price is likely the price is likely to be at the same price where the economy is at its full employment of output. So what happens if SRAS shifts up? Why might they shift up? Well, it was because the price, expected price increases. You see, if the expected price increases, the whole curve will shift up from SRAS 0 to SRAS 1. And if you draw a AD curve, we are likely to see that the output decreases. So let's work through an example of an unanticipated increase in the money supply. An unanticipated increase in the money supply will increase the 81 from 81 to 82. I won't explain the reason here, as I have explained in the previous chapters. So 80 shifts to 82, it's an increase, but the expected price level will also increase from SRAS 1 to SRAS 2. Why? Because as people get more information, their expectation change. Let me put it this way. So first, don't look at SRAS 2, only look at SRAS 1. When the 80 changes to 82, now the economy is producing at point F. You have the output more than the full employment level output, Y bar. That is excess demand. So the excess demand will cause the price expectation to rise. When the price expectation to rise, then the SRAS will shift up. So it will shift up until Y is equal to Y bar and P is equal to P3. So how about an unanticipated increase in the money supply? So this time we are looking at an anticipated money supply, increase in money supply. So everything is known. So what will happen is, as 80 shifts to 82, SRS1 shifts to SRS2 simultaneously. Okay, so let's imagine that 81 and 82, 81 SRS1. So as SRS shifts up and 80 shifts up, we will intersect at each other at this line, HE line. So the output will always be the same. So that is like the classical economist, the very, very old theory. So this one means the money is neutral in both. So I'll explain Keynesian model later when I get back from dinner. Okay, so thank you guys for watching.